Okay, let's see how we sound.
Test one, test two. I got you 5 by 5, Greg. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How do you read me?
How do we sound, guys? Give me a thumbs up if we sound good. What's going on, Aldo? We we sound good. Okay, great. New York
Privet,
Adventure.
Aldo. Privet.
If anything happens, guys, just let us know in the chat if there's any interruptions. If our sound cuts off or if the video cuts off or there's any issues, just let us know in the chat. So this way I can adjust. And so this way we stop and fix anything before John continues on so we don't miss anything. Um, thanks everybody for joining tonight. All the usual people here. We got Aldo Schmedak, K. Paul, Johnny Quest, Lorna, Scott, Adam, Edwards. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tartan Granny. Um, so basically, in this video, we're just going to go over John's medical kit that he carries every day. You carry this every day or just in certain occasions?
Well, I have it ready at all times because if I'm not out on a mission, let's say, being here in Kremichuk, um, if a rocket was to get through and hit the city, like in my area, I'm going to be out in the street doing street medicine.
Okay.
Okay. And so, like, I run toward the boom. Um, this was apparent. My first taste of this was last year into June when the M store here got hit with two rockets. And you might have seen it. It made all the international news and everything because like
Yep.
34 people were killed, over 100 people injured. Um, it was basically a large grocery store on the first floor with a pharmacy, and uh, there was also on the second floor electronics store and everything like that. So,
Yeah, that was the
uh,
Kremenchuk shopping mall attack, June 27th,
correct.
2022. Two KH-22 anti-ship missiles into central Kremenchuk, hitting the Amster shopping mall and the Kredmash road machinery plant. It says killed 20
Hmm.
people and 56 injured. So yeah, a lot of people. I'm sure a
The
lot of you guys probably saw that. It says here that it's the
the final the final death toll, Greg, was 34
34 people.
uh, people. Hmm. That was the final official uh, toll, and it was reached days after the attack because so many people were burned so badly in the explosion, and one person they just counted as missing. This guy must have been vaporized or something, because they found no trace of him. Um, Basically, everyone in the electronics store was killed. All the employees and any customers in that store were killed outright. Um, that was my first taste of war, really. We were about 3 kilometers, 3 to 5 kilometers away. Beautiful day, and no alarm went off, no Travoga. It had gone off earlier in the day. It was interesting. We had been there shopping several hours before the attack, and we were at the compound on the outskirts of town, And when that hit, we felt the blast wave. In fact, I was coming out of my dacha, and it kind of made me stumble.
For people who don't
The
know, dacha is just a Slavic word for like your house, right?
A little guest house, a little, yeah, it's like a little guest house, nothing much, just some place to throw down. Uh, and at the compound, there's a little dacha that I stay in uh, there behind the big house. And right now, I'm at the Rat Team safe house at an undisclosed location in Kremichuk.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm in my flat here in Kremichuk, which is I'm almost in the city center. So nice little flat. Um, anyway, but that was my first taste of what shot. I was gonna say shot fired in anger of what a rocket could do, and it was brutal. It was scary. When we got there, the whole building was engulfed, and the military and the police were telling us that there could have been up to 500 people in there.
Oh wow.
And like Jeremy and I were just standing there and got pretty emotional thinking that we were watching 500 people burn to death and there was nothing we could do. And our first casualty we treated was actually someone we knew. Uh, and he had his hand had glass shards and everything all embedded in it. And he was military and he wanted to get back into the fight, if you will, with debris clearance and firefighting. And so I did a real down and dirty cleanup of his hand, removed some glass, slathered it in antibiotic cream, wrapped it, and
So
put
what
some
kind of
saran
injury he
wrap
had on his hand?
embedded glass.
Embedded glass. Wow.
Yeah, and there was over 100 casualties to be treated. The severity was shock at the low end to people just ripped apart by shrapnel and flying debris, plus burn injuries. What happened? The first rocket hit and it tore everything up and broke all the gas lines. And then when the second rocket hit, it ignited it. And the whole place just went up like a Roman candle. If you can imagine how a grocery store would burn.
Right.
And so it was one of the scare and I mean we were up close and personal there. It wasn't like we were standing way back behind the lines. We had full access and could go wherever we were needed. And once the casualties were cleared off, which big shout out to Kremenchuk Emergency Services, they did a wonderful job getting there, getting people loaded up, getting them to the hospital. It was very impressive um, for that mass casualty event. And we stayed on in case any of the firefighters and search and rescue people got injured. Okay, because it was still pretty active and ugly. And even while we were there, we had to drop everything and go for cover because the second there was a threat of another rocket coming in. And so that was my first taste, a real taste of how ugly this thing could get. And so, yeah, for those who don't know, can I go into my background real quick? You think?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, if you want to just tell people who you are, what your experiences are.
Okay. Uh, Again, I'm John. I'm 64. Uh, Native Texan from Dallas and Austin, respectively. Uh, my highlights of my long careers. I was a commercial diver in the North Sea, and it was during training for that in Florida at the Florida Institute of Technology that I got my first medical training, which was
Okay.
EMT. And this is back when we were putting leashes on people. It was a long time ago. And through the years, subsequent years, and different occupations, I carried on with continuing education. I never worked as what would be formally recognized as an EMT. I wasn't in a city or county ambulance service or anything like that. I never worked solely as an EMT. It was always an adjunct to the profession I was working in. And so, like in the North Sea, having EMT, having that medical background came in real handy. Uh, you know, and so treating all kinds of injuries, ailments, the bends, everything like that. Uh, I did that for 10 years in the North Sea. Went back, got an education in economics.
So you said you were in the North
Uh,
Sea.
hmm
Okay.
Off the coast of Scotland.
Okay.
I worked for Subsea Offshore,
Okay.
which at that time was owned 50% by British Petroleum. And
Okay.
so obviously we were the divers on all the BP projects and rigs. And I was on some of the biggest projects in the North Sea, uh, including McDermott's record-setting 1,500-foot dive laying pipeline uh,
Oh.
off the coast of Norway. I didn't dive. I didn't get. I was a standby diver. I was the uh, scut diver on the pipeline barge. And so
Okay.
like every 6 hours or so I'd get woken up and they'd throw me off the back end of the barge to go down the stinger and make sure the pipe was rolling correct and cameras were all set and just put a visual on how things were going with the pipe rolling out, which was kind of interesting work. Paid well. After I quit diving, I went back to college, university, got my degree in economics, then went to work for the Texas Attorney General's. Well, I worked in private business for a while, and then went to work for the Texas Attorney General as a criminal investigator in healthcare and economic crime. And that was interesting work, to be sure. And after 9/11, I was recruited into the Joint Terrorism Task Force and served on the Joint Terrorism Task Force till I had to take medical disability and over an incident I was involved in. But that's a story for another day and another time. Um, and I was volunteer search and rescue, uh, work, work Katrina, worked floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, missing persons, urban and rural, all through Texas. Our team was one of the top teams in Texas. Uh, Working my way up to deputy chief of that organization, known as U.S. Hero, SAR Team 8. And so did that and uh, did a little stand-up comedy, got my journalism credentials, uh, Then now I'm here as a volunteer uh, worker in Ukraine,
So just to
and I came
summarize
over.
before you go any further, so you were investigator for the Texas Attorney General. You were in the
Hmm.
Joint Terrorism Task Force. You
Correct.
were a diver for oil companies, and
Hmm.
now you're in Ukraine volunteering. You're providing supplies, right? Miscellaneous supplies to
Well, yeah,
troops, right?
troops and civilians. Yeah.
Troops and civilians.
Um, I
So you're
came
doing both.
over at the first of April in 2022, so the war was pretty fresh. It was chaotic then. It was really chaotic. We were so busy, and there was a lack of things that like tourniquets. I mean, we were dealing with black market, buying tourniquets, uh, getting medical equipment, getting donations, getting all kinds of things, buying food, water. I mean, God, me and several guys, I don't know how many thousands of dollars out of our own pocket we used to get stuff. And I mean, like, we swapped some medical supplies for premature baby diapers out of the back of a car and ran those up to where they were needed. I mean,
Wow.
we were doing stuff like that. Then austere medical group came in, and this is a telling story. One night after a bombing, there was a child. I think he was less than 3 years old. I wasn't there, and he'd received a serious head injury. And fortunately, there was a neurosurgeon from the United States, and Jeremy and his wife drove, and the doctor was in the back seat using an ambo bag, keeping the kid alive. And it was several hours to get to the hospital. No ambulance, no nothing. This is in the back of the car. And then arriving at the hospital, the neurosurgeon ran in with the child. They put surgical prep, and she went into surgery, you know, and that was how crazy it was. I mean, and even now up on the front, ambulances, a lot of the transportation is the big, like, if you go back, like if you look at the Afghan war and you look at the PJ, the Pedros, and medical care there, you would see that the, we were getting guys off the battlefield and into a full-blown hospital on a base, like in under an hour. They'd fly in with a helicopter, scoop them up. They had these high speed, highly trained medics in there, the PJs.
Right. For those who don't know
And
what PJs are you're talking about pararescue, Air Force pararescue, right?
correct, parajumpers.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's a 2-year pipeline to get through that, to,
Right.
to
Two
qualify as a
years of
PJ.
training, just for people who don't know, 2 years of training. Yep.
Yeah, that's what, yeah, often referred to as the pipeline. In fact, a lot of it's done about 70 miles from my house, the medical stuff at Brooks Army Base Hospital in San Antonio. Anyway, but that's beside the point. The big thing here is the transportation is still lacking, that it's iffy to get helicopters to come in, especially close to the front. There's so many man pads and stingers and everything all over the place. You know, uh, it's not healthy to fly around in Ukraine. Let's put it that way. especially east of the, if you're Ukrainian, east of the Dnipro or along the Russian borders is kind of, a little dicey. Um, so, with all that said, shall we take a peek what's in the bags?
Yeah, whatever you want to do, that would be great.
All right, let's do it. Okay, folks, first off, caveat. I'm not giving medical training here. This is kind of the show and tell. I'll talk to Greg and see about actually showing how this stuff is applied and worked, but I need a body
Right,
really to do that. How
right,
we would do that.
right.
Okay, so I carry a hodgepodge of equipment and carry bags. I don't. Sorry if I'm out of camera.
It's all right. We could see you.
Okay, the first thing I carry is my plate carrier. Okay, can y'all see me? Okay.
Yes, yes, we can.
All
Yep.
right. Let me do a little. And so I have my plate carrier. And in my plate carrier, obviously I got my knife, and it's not a combat knife. I'm not going to go like, ninja on anybody, but you need to have one. I have Israeli bandage, and this is the most life-saving piece of equipment in Ukraine. Tourniquet. Okay.
And
This is
which one do you have? Is
this
that a cat tourniquet?
yes, cat.
Okay.
Okay. And now they're requiring all tourniquets to be certified in Ukraine. A
Okay.
lot of people are buying this cheap Chinese crap.
Right.
Can I say that on YouTube? Yeah, I can say it.
Yeah, I think you can.
Uh, and they were buying the cheap Chinese stuff, and they break and come apart, and the handles break and everything. So now everything is to SOF 7, level 7 tourniquets,
Okay.
which are about 40 bucks a throw. And on the front line, I know of several battalion brigades that when their soldiers go to the front line, they don't carry one tourniquet, they don't carry two tourniquets, they carry four.
Wow. Why is that?
Four tourniquets. Well, you get your legs blown off. That's two tourniquets. Uh,
Right. Or you may
and
have
let's say you had
buddies. Right.
yes, exactly. And so you got an arm blown off. This actually happened. Artillery round took the legs off a medic, okay, and it just ripped the shoulder and arm practically off on this other guy. And the medic was able to save himself. He got his tourniquets in place and stopped the bleeding. And he desperately tried to save the soldier who had had his shoulder and arm just ripped to shreds, but unfortunately couldn't save him.
Wow. That's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah, I mean, this guy's doing it with his legs blown off. All right, the medic, and he survived. He survived. So carry Israeli bandage, tourniquet. Okay,
And
AM.
real quick, what level plate do you have in there? Do you know the level? Is it level
We
4?
yeah, yeah. We use 4+ plate. I have no plate in these right now. My plates are somewhere near the front.
Okay.
Yeah, they're guy needed them, and one of our friends, and he had a more desperate need for them than I did. So My plates are on loan at the moment. I hope to pick some more up when I go to Uzbekistan, but that's a whole nother story.
Now, can
Here
you
is,
now can you let's say you have to purchase, let's say for whatever reason you lose a tourniquet or you lose your plates. Is it
hmm
hard to find stuff like that in Ukraine? Is there any stores where you could buy, let's say you need an extra plate,
oh
you
yeah,
lost it?
yeah, you can get plates and stuff. You got to fish around a little bit. Um, and as the war amped up, with regard to plate, a lot of welders, guys, steel fabricators, started making steel plate.
I remember
Okay,
you were telling me that
which
they were making their own plates from would they just buy like bulk
yeah,
AR 500 steel and just cut it?
I, you're out of my ballpark. I don't know whatever they had laying around. Then they put this, take a chunk of it, put it down range, shoot at it. If it stopped everything, okay, we're making it out of this.
Oh wow,
Yeah. Uh,
wow!
there was not a high degree of certification testing.
Literally just scrap metal that
Okay.
they would find and just test
Well,
it with.
no, I mean, it was a little better than scrap,
Right,
but
but it wasn't really
they were
intended.
making
Was it intended
they
for
were making
plates?
their own plate.
Right,
No, I mean, I don't know, Greg. You know, guys were making it, guys were using it. It's better than nothing. Okay.
sure.
And to be honest with you, depending on how close you are to the blast, plate armor is not going to help you. Okay. It's really not. Uh, you have a piece of shrapnel go through that plate like, knife through butter if you're close enough.
Yeah,
The
or it'll take your
velocity is,
legs or your arms, cut an artery.
yeah. What? So, but anyway, uh, but yeah, level four, level four plus plate. Okay. So this is what's in the front immediate access on here. Okay, on my carrier. So we're good, right? Now, the other thing that's real important is the IFAC, your IFAC bag. And my IFAC fits on this side, on my right side of my vest, like right here. It's a tearaway, right? I just slap it on, it's all Velcro, and then I can tear it off if I need it.
Right,
And you're thinking, why does a medic need to carry an IFAC, right? Well, what if I have to get up and roll and I have to leave my medical kits down on the ground, okay? And then I get hit. And the thing about an IFAC, and this is the golden rule of an IFAC, this isn't your buddy's IFAC. You don't rip this open and take stuff out of it to treat somebody else. You use his IFAC.
right. That's
All
huge.
right.
Yep.
Okay. This is yours. This is your survival kit. All right. And so inside a Ukrainian certified IFAC, oi, let's take a peek, right? Inside here, I have two tourniquets, Israeli bandage, Sam splint. Okay. If y'all don't know what Sam splint is for preppers, get you some of this. Sam splint is a moldable aluminum, padded aluminum that, like for broken bones, or if you have to isolate an arm, even a leg, there's neck. This can be molded and bent
Okay, so
to
it's
make a
almost
sling.
like it's kind of like like that metal tape you use for like duct work. It's like a rigid tape kind of thing that
No, this is aluminum. This is actually has a thin piece of aluminum in it,
right, and it's
and
padded. You're
so
saying
right, and so you can take it out and form like curve it so you can wrap someone's fingers over it,
right,
then
right.
wrap them up it like it and everything. So this is good, right? Gauze always have, and gauze has a lot of uses besides putting over a wound. You can take gauze and pack it in a wound, okay? And it's insane how much gauze you can pack into a wound. Uh, this has a little nasty pair of EMT shears. Not the best quality, in my opinion. Pair of tweezers. Tweezers are really super handy to have, okay, for a lot of reasons. So that's what's in my IFAC. Some tape, bandage tape, some gauze, uh, some real cute. I use kitty band-aids
Okay,
a lot. No real reason other than just to tick off the soldiers. Like soldier will be have his hands kind of cut up, and I'll come and clean them up and put band-aids on them. And I got the little cartoon band-aids because big roughy toughy Ukrainian soldier have a boo boo. Come see your doctor, right? And so everyone gets a big laugh out of it. Plus, also if I have kids, any civilian children or something like that, it's a little more kid friendly. That's the one thing that's lacking in so much here. Getting pediatric, specialized pediatric gear is tough to come by. Okay, got a little, got some alcohol wipes and a little CPR kind of mask. So a little bit of nasty cheap bandage tape. And this is what's issued to the soldiers, by the way, except for the kitty bandage.
okay.
That's my own. That's my own personal touch. And so that's your IFAC, okay? And in the IFAC, the most critical thing are your tourniquets and your Israeli bandage,
Right.
okay? All the rest of that, pretty much you could toss away. This is all, and so it's the tourniquets that are key because 85% or better of the injuries that we see here in Ukraine are shrapnel wounds and blast injuries. This is a rocket and artillery war. There's not heavy small arms combat except like maybe Bakhmut, Marinka,
Right.
places like that.
Right.
But everywhere else, it's rocket, missile, and artillery. So that's your IPAC bag. That's your personal one.
Now, do you
How
carry
it?
any Celox or any kind of
Oh,
wound
I'm
packers?
coming to that, Greg.
Okay.
I'm coming to it, buddy.
Yeah,
Yes, I
people are
do.
asking. Yeah, and then they're also asking about chest seals and any kind of light sources.
Oh, tell them to hang on. See, that was the little life hack. Okay. This, my friends, is the ouch pouch. And this is my primary bag as a medic. All right. And as you can see, this sucker's loaded. All right. And so in the ouch pouch, let's break it down. All right. Opening the ouch pouch, I have my stethoscope. Okay. So I have my stethoscope. Normally I wear it here. Quick access to a tourniquet. Now, if I'm actually going gonna go someplace where we're gonna be under fire, all right, you rubber band your tourniquet. Rubber band your tourniquet up on you'll put one up here on your shoulder on your plate carrier and use rubber bands. That way you can just rip it off when you need it, but it stays secure. With me?
Yep.
Okay. A little inside baseball there, probably for now. We open up the main pouch here. First thing, these are antibacterial wipes, baby wipes, basically. And I can use this to clean. All right. Guys, arms all tore up, right? I can do an initial cleaning with this. All right. And plus also clean guys up and stuff like that. So always carry a pack of baby wipes.
Multiple uses for that.
Oh, yeah. Now, this is what I call the boo-boo bag. This is my boo-boo bag. And this is for like little cuts, burns, and stuff like that. And in here, I have various size bandages, band-aids, right? Some Neosporin cream, um, alcohol wipes, stuff like that, okay? And this is for like cuts and little stuff. Because even though you'd think, okay, well, no big deal, these guys are living in a squalid trench, okay? I mean, it's nasty. It's like World War One, guys. All right, it's like World War One, and so you got you don't want them getting infected. All right, so you got to do that. You got to treat it, clean it, leave them band-aids and some antibiotic, ointment like Neosporin or something else.
So you like
And so
Neosporin? You think it's useful?
I'm just using it because people will associate what that is.
Right.
Okay. I normally have two or three different kinds
Right.
of antibiotic cream. All right. So, and plus I get stuff here, uh, too. And of course, if I said, all right, we're using, smegma cream, you wouldn't understand what that was.
Right.
So I'm just using Neosporin. It's kind of like saying Coke or a Xerox machine.
Right. Right. It's
You
just a
guys get
brand
it?
name. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here's my gauze, and this is for cleaning, covering, and packing. All right. Wounds. So I have gauze pads. All right. Sponges, as they would be called, gauze sponges.
What size gauze do you
And
like to carry?
I carry 2x2,
Okay.
and I have varying sizes of it, but 2x2 for packing, cleaning, covering wounds will do the job. Plus, also, you got to remember, I got to carry this, right? So, and be able to access it quick. So, I'm not gonna have, some. I don't necessarily have the luxury like when the paramedics and EMTs roll up in the States, they got those
Right.
3 or 4 of those big, huge specialty stomp bags.
Right.
I don't have that. Okay, I don't have that.
Right.
So
Sure.
basically, what my medicine, if you will, is all about is keeping that platinum 10 minutes or that golden hour, getting that guy stable, stop the bleeding, keep his heart beating, and keep him breathing so we can get him up the line to more advanced medical care.
Right. Okay.
I'm not the advanced medical care.
Right.
All right. All right. Here's my um, stuff for making splints. SAM splint. This is my SAM splint. Okay. Also
Mm-hmm.
known as universal splint. Now, what's funny, everything I'm pulling out of here, you can get on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, in the States, you can get this on Amazon,
That's great.
including the bag, including the bag, by the way. And you can get IFACs and everything else. Now, someone said sea locks. Here we go, baby. Here's your sea locks. Now, there's a little something that maybe most people don't know about using sea locks. This hurts like a bear.
I bet.
This is going to cause a tremendous amount of pain in your patient. Stops the bleeding, keeps them alive, but they ain't going to like you. All right. Just so you know, all right, when you start pumping this into somebody, they're going to let you know that they're not happy.
Right.
All right. And so another tourniquet, another Israeli bandage. This is important to have too. Space blankets, those emergency space
Oh, I'm glad you
mylar
mentioned
space.
that. Those are great.
Are, well, here's the thing, and what they've discovered: if a patient is losing a lot of blood, they will go hypothermic. It could be 80 degrees outside, but they're going to go hypothermic through blood loss.
Right. Right.
So the faster you can wrap these guys up in this, it prevents that and also helps with shock, which is another big thing you have to deal with.
Right.
Patients going into shock. All right. So we got this. What else we got? What else we got? Okay. Ah, triage markers. Okay. And so if I'm in a mass casualty event, I can start triaging, and these are wristbands that I can use, and they're different colors for different, like yellow is blast and head, green is walking wounded, you know, I got orange, which is urgent, and then red, which is critical.
Okay.
All right. So I can triage patients and mark them and move on.
Okay. Makes
I'll
sense.
do,
You can easily
yeah.
see.
So so let's say I'm in the street out here. Let's say a rocket hits the apartment building across the street
Right.
in middle of the day. I'm going to have people all over the place. I'm going to set up a triage point someplace safe as I can get it. All right. And I'm going to start triaging patients. Right. I'm going to take care of the criticals, stop the bleeding, keep them breathing, doing this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, fixing every little problem. It's going through because emergency services are going to be coming to me, right? And so when the emergency services get here, I don't have to come stop what I'm doing to come back and say, oh, that guy really needs to go right now. They can look on here and see the colors, all right, and know what to do.
Okay. That makes
I also
sense.
keep it. I also keep a little notepad, and you can actually buy 9-line cards that you fill out that describe the injury and everything like that, and you can attach it to that person. So when the next person comes along, they can say, "Okay, severed leg, right leg, below the knee, possible internal injuries, possible closed head injury, ketamine administered, morphine administered, da 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 da. And there's a little record that goes with the guy. All right. So they're not having to figure out what you did or what your diagnosis was. With
Right.
me?
Yep. So you write everything down.
Yeah, and I have like these little waterproof notepads,
Okay.
and I write it in pencil too, because like if it's raining or it's wet, it's not going to wash out.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, a little inside baseball on that. Pencils are good.
Yeah.
All
Plus,
right.
you don't have to worry about holding it. Up if you're upright or sideways, it runs out of ink or whatever. Yeah.
Right, right, right. Here's a smaller Israeli bandage, tongue depressors, which have a lot of uses, by the way. And those are sterile. So like I can check, you know, throat, not just like open your mouth and say, ah, I can make splints out of them. I can use them to help clean or debride and apply, let's say, antibiotic cream or something like that. Right? Uh, the big ugly, nasal airway.
Okay. Nasal airway.
And you should have one of these in your IFAC too. And this is one of the first things I would do with a patient is apply, depending on the injury, um, is put this nasal airway in place. That
Okay.
way, if their throat starts closing up or whatever, I've got an airway going. And this is down and dirty. You just grease it up and slip it through the nose. Uh, this is kind of funny. I got these, and this one actually has lubricant with it,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. Don't tell the soldiers. They'll be ripping you off for the lubricant. That's a whole nother discussion on a video you don't mind getting demonetized. Um, it's lonely at the front. I will show you, and I also carry it in my kit. And this is funny, you guys will get. This is sex lube.
Oh, okay.
All right, it's water soluble, hypoallergenic. All right, this is great stuff. This is great stuff. You should have this in your medical bag. All right, not only for things like this, but like guys got blistered feet, you can take care of that. Put some of this on there. If you have to do a rectal exam,
Okay.
okay, you'll thank me later. All right. And then, gauze, ace. What? Why are you laughing?
It's funny.
It's serious stuff, Greg. Um, Plus, if you've seen any of the female Ukrainian medics, anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. Carry gauze. All right, that's in the main bag. Okay, that's in the main compartment. We ain't done yet. On my side compartment, once again, EMT shears, forceps, right? Iodine, all right? More nasal airways. These don't have lube, all right? That's why I carry it. And I carry several tubes of it. That way, if I run across other medics and they got these that didn't get lubes, I'll chuck them a little grease, right? Makes things faster. And well, I mean, you do what you do. I carry a marker pen. All right, permanent marker pen. I can write on someone's forehead or arm.
That's always a good thing.
Yep.
What are some things you would write
Uh,
down? Blood type or
like, no, 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 that doesn't matter. They'll do that. They'll work with that up the line. Um, Morphine, like how many syrettes of morphine did we give,
okay,
or did we use ketamine? Um, if you might write like possible closed head injury, you know, whatever, making notes if you have to like. Also, if you're having to do CPR on a guy, and what I do is I find the sweet spot and I mark it, and we start compressions that way. When I set off and the next guy takes over, he knows exactly where to put his hands because he may or may not have a high level of training in CPR. All right. Now, stateside, I'm going to recommend to you preppers, go see your fire department. They have instructors there that teach CPR. Take the CPR course for medical professionals. Don't do the standard one. Do the one up on the medical professionals and have it include the ambo bag and infants, children. Okay? It only cost maybe $10 more or something or when I did it. And take it for medical professionals. It's a little more in depth. They drill down a little deeper. Okay? It's better than just the basic CPR course that the Heart Association teaches. Just saying. All right? A little inside baseball there. And you don't have to necessarily be a medical professional to take it. All right? Hydrogen peroxide for irrigating wounds. I carry syringes. All right? And these, once again, are used for irrigation of wounds or eyes. If I have,
okay,
there's guys get a lot of stuff in their eyes, and
okay,
so sometimes you need to wash them out, or you put the needles on these and you're off to the races.
okay.
Okay,
That's a good idea.
yeah. Um, Here's my Happy Lube in my kit. I also carry Bear aspirin. All right. Um, this is handy if you suspect someone's having a heart attack. This is handy stuff. All right. I don't know if I can say how you use it, but you can look it up on how many you give and everything. And it's a blood thinner. And this can really, really help somebody if you're at home waiting on that ambulance and paramedics will give you this. They'll pour out a handful and make you chew them up. Okay. So get some Bear aspirin. This is the 81 milligram heart medicine, heart once a day thing. All right.
It's a good
Also,
thing
what's
to
good to
have.
have is Benadryl.
Oh yeah, you
All
never
right.
know. I always tell people that
Correct.
you never know if you have an allergic reaction of some kind. I mean, you just don't know.
Right. And so I've actually saved someone's life with Benadryl.
What kind of
Guy got
Benadryl
bit
do
up.
you like? Just the pills, right?
No, I like liquid
Okay,
because if the guy's throat's swelling up,
right.
trying to swallow a pill could be
Impossible.
dangerous.
Yeah. Or dangerous, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So liquid is good. You can crush it up. I didn't say that, but you can,
Okay.
in a pinch. Now,
Okay.
of course, EpiPens, and we do, between Jeremy and I, we do have EpiPens.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good to have.
We do
Okay.
have, yeah, but you got to know how to use them.
Right.
Okay. And when to use them. CPR mask. All right. I have several of these,
Okay.
and the ones I have are compatible with hooking up to oxygen.
Okay.
All right. And that's real handy. I mean, you can sit there and blow into it as a one-way valve, or you could start attaching oxygen line or ambo bag. All right. Greg, let me do something real quick.
Sure.
I'm losing I'm losing power a little bit. Let me hook up over here.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Uh,
No problem. No problem.
so what kind of questions are we getting?
Uh, does anybody have any questions? I know, like Aldo. Aldo, you had a few questions. If you have anybody has any questions, you can ask. You're almost done showing your kit, right? Or you still have a little more?
I have one more little bag that's real fast to go through.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see.
Do you carry any kind of light source, like somebody mentioned, like a Sialoom, like a chem light? You know?
I have rechargeable headlamps. Okay. I have one on my helmet, as you can see right there, and it's white and red. And then I have just a loose one. All right. Again, white and red, and you can recharge these off a USB. They're not battery.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So, all right. So we got the big stuff covered pretty much. Uh,
Somebody asked how you got into volunteering over there, and I mentioned that you have a buddy, right? Jeremy, is he the one that kind
right.
of helped get you in, or?
Yeah, it's Jeremy's fault. It's all
Okay.
at whiskey and bad decisions. Uh, let's see. All right. So we got all this. One of the other things I carry, and this is handy stuff. I carry, these are laminated first aid cards, all right, and it goes through the basics, and you can
Okay.
pick these up on Amazon. They're laminated, they're great. The other thing, too, is pain level in Russian and Ukrainian,
Okay. Okay. That's a really good idea. That's smart,
all right.
especially over there.
Now, normally you're saying, well, John's not a big time speaker, and no, I'm not, but Jeremy is fluent in Russian. And we also have a young lady who volunteers to be our interpreter.
Oh,
All
okay.
right.
That's really good.
And then, all right, so that covers all this. The second most important bag I carry, and this one was, oh, also another good thing to have. These are nylon stretchers.
Okay.
Okay, they're very light, they're very small. I can spread this out and use it like to create a triage space. or if we have to haul somebody out.
Okay.
Okay. And as you can see, it's pretty compact and light. Once again, everything I've shown you, you can get actually on Amazon. Isn't that
Okay.
wild? You can
Yeah,
have it
no,
delivered right to you can have
that's
it
pretty
delivered right
smart.
to your door.
Some great stuff here
Uh,
for prepping, like a nylon stretcher. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
and they're cheap. They're inexpensive. You're not going to get a whole lot of uses out of them.
Well, you could probably. I'm
All
thinking
right.
you could also use it as a way to gather water too, if it rains or something. You
No,
know,
no, it's
it's not
not
waterproof.
waterproof.
Okay.
No, no, no. Now, what we also have, and I don't have one here, they're in the car, our van that we use, or the SU, we have a four-wheel drive SUV. We have a combination body bag stretcher. All right. It can be used as a stretcher, or it can be used as a body bag. It can also be used as an emergency shelter as well. All right. I know everyone's got quiet on that one. Oh, I'm not getting in a body bag as a shelter. Oh, you would if it's. This is my diagnostic bag. All right. And in here I have my diagnostic equipment. Now, the most useful item in this, I carry a wrist blood pressure cuff,
Okay.
and I like to, they're not as highly accurate as a regular traditional cuff. All right. Which, by the way, you have to carry different cuff sizes. Remember, if you're going to go that way, you got to get several different sizes to make sure that you can fit like a child, a really pumped up guy, or a very thin armed person. So you need several cuffs.
Right.
All right, keep that in mind. I like the wrist. It's quick. I just throw it on the wrist, get their arm up over their heart, press the button, and away we go. And it'll give me a blood pressure and a heart rate. I don't have to take it off. I can leave it there in place. It also records it so I can look and see, is my patient, you know, stable, or is he shooting high or going low? And I can check the blood pressure very quickly. All right. Plus, if there's a lot of noise and movement and everything like that, this is visual. I mean, you're not having to sit there and listen. I can just slap this on there, hit the button, and carry on doing something else. Right? And these are all over the place now. And they've gotten much better, more accurate. But you just need a little one. You just need one that'll record, like this will record two people. I
Okay.
can keep records on two people. All right. The other thing I carry, pulse ox.
Okay.
And now they've gotten so expensive, you should have several of these. Okay. And
Hmm.
so carry a pulse ox. That'll give you your blood oxygen and your heart rate. Okay. Blood oxygen is critical. All right. You can tell a lot about what's going on with someone by looking at the pulse ox. All right. Especially you get some of these wounds where you get chest wounds and, you got a damaged lung and or the guy's got some kind of blast injury and he's choking on his own blood and all of a sudden you can't figure out what's going on. You look at that pulse ox and it's drop, 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 drop. You need to be taking some counteraction right now, right then and there. So this is really good. Now I've got some like real ninja stuff in here that you guys are gonna love. All right, this isn't one of them, but a glucose meter.
Okay.
All right. And so why a glucose meter? Because I go into villages and I got the old babushkas and everything like that, and they have been without their medications and this and that. I can take and monitor their glucose.
Babushkas, for people who don't know, that's like
Like
grandmothers,
grandmother, older, yeah, older. It's kind of a thing, you know. You got babushkas, you got dadushkas too. I'm a dadushka.
right? Grandpa.
Yeah. Plus, also, I have extra sets of exam gloves. I like to, I kind of let my tactical get the better of me. So I got the black nitrile gloves like you get at like the auto parts places that are really good, right? But for medical work, you're really better off with the blue.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. One simple reason.
You
One
can
of the
see
first things I
fluids.
do, exactly, you do what they call a blood sweep.
Okay.
All right. And that's where you're taking your hands and reaching behind them, down their back, down their legs to see. Because if you got an entry wound, you got an exit wound possibly somewhere. So you run your hands down there and you pull your hand back. And if you got blood on your hand, you got a wound back there, right? Pretty simple stuff. But if you got a black one on, it's harder to see, especially if it's dark and everything like that, right? You with me?
Sure. Yep.
These are cool. These are cooler though. If you want to be tactical, that that's up to you. One of the coolest things I carry is this. This is an EKG. I love this thing. You've probably seen them advertised. They do work. They are FDA approved. Basically, you put your fingers like this on each hand, put them on the pads. You have an app on your iPhone, Bluetooth, and all of a sudden you start getting an EKG reading.
Oh
And then
wow.
the app will analyze it for one of four critical rhythms. If you have any questions about what's going on, you can send that EKG run to a doctor who will analyze it and get back to you. Okay?
That's
Now
really
that's
cool.
pretty ninja. That's pretty ninja right there. I like this. The other thing I have, besides, I got a thermometer, of course, several. I've got one for anal, and then the standard, no touch infrared across the forehead. You're thinking, John, why do you have an anal thermometer? Wintertime, hypothermia.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. This is a camera. Okay. Once again, Bluetooth technology. I can flash this up on my iPhone and I use it for checking ears, nose, inside the mouth. I could even put this into a wound. Okay. And get a view. And so it's just a really, really good tool to have. What else? Of course, the old eye for checking eyes. And this is important because we do see blast injuries, closed head injuries. So you want to be able to diagnose them. And of course, checking pupils, looking for blood in the ears, blood through the nose, change in behavioral patterns. A lot of times when people have brain injuries or head injuries, they get more aggressive.
Okay.
Okay, they get very aggressive.
Interesting.
Um, so you want to be able to deal with that. And then in here I have a little oscilloscope for actually looking in ears and up nose. So that's what's in my diagnostic bag. And Once again, another CPR mask. Any questions?
Yeah, we had some questions about chest seals. If you
Okay,
carry a chest seal,
I
and
do.
what types?
I did. I will show you.
Okay.
Uh,
And then we had another question about any of the volunteer medics carrying portable defibrillators.
yeah, they're starting to come online more and more. There are more donations of defibrillators. A
Okay.
lot of time, but you got to remember, if you're a frontline medic, I don't know, you might be able to get that in your bag. I don't know. Plus, also, I don't know how sensitive they are to rough and tough. Okay, being
Right.
dirt and grime and
Right.
bounced around. More of an ambulance, base station, aid station kind of thing, in my mind. I'd love to have one. Don't get me wrong. I would absolutely love it. And all right, everybody wants to know about chest seal. Ooh, chest seal. Let me see here.
Tactical stuff.
Yeah. Once again, different size gauze. You were asking about different size gauze pads, right? And then big ones, all right? Uh, oh, the
Yep.
other thing I always carry, very tactical, carry a map of your region you're working in. This is a road map of Ukraine,
Oh, that's smart.
right?
Yeah, that's
In
critical.
English. And
That's
it's a good
critical.
one too. I'm impressed with, because if for some reason your phone dies, gets broken, or the Russians are jamming, you might not be getting your sweet little Google GPS signals.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, you gotta have that paper map, and it looks like it's some kind of heavy duty map. Is it like kind of water resistant? Looks like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, chest seals. This is, and I have more of these. They're over at the compound, but this is the type of chest seal I carry. Can everybody see that? Once
Yeah.
again, you can get these. You can get these on Amazon.
What's the
Okay.
brand name on that? Can you?
Yeah, hang on. Let me put my glasses on.
Yeah, sure. And also, someone was asking the brand name for that little EKG thing.
Acadia. You can go on Amazon and you'll see them advertised there.
Okay.
It's a Everlet Survival.
Okay.
Okay. We also have chest decompression needles.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, someone was asking about that, so I'm glad you mentioned that.
Now, the other thing we have, Berman Airways, color coded for size. All right. For establishing an airway. And this is a portable ambo bag.
Okay.
Okay. BMV. All right. Rather than carrying the full bag, you can carry this little puppy.
Okay.
And it's nice. It's got its own hard case. Good stuff. Good stuff. And I got a few odds and ends. But yeah, we have chest seals. Now, in a pinch, you can take a plastic bag and duct tape and make a chest seal for somebody. In fact, I highly recommend that when you open this bag, you do so carefully. Don't rip it apart, because let's say, all right, you treat the wound in the front, you get the the chest seal on here. Now you got a wound in the back. And what do you use for a chest seal? You use this. You use the packaging and duct tape, and you can make an effective chest seal.
Okay.
Okay?
Very
You don't have
interesting.
to have, yeah,
Interesting.
you do what you do out there, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so this medical kit is pretty good, I think, for a prepper. I think it would be extensive enough.
Oh yeah.
Like my ouch pouch is a really covers a lot of territory,
Right.
you know, and it's portable enough. You can put it in your car. You can sling it on your person. Okay, like when we go to, if we're out and about, we always have it in the car. We always have it at the range. All right. I have it within hand's reach here in the safe house, and asked that to the girls that came by last week. Anyway, different story. Don't want to demonetize you. So let me take this off. I like this plate carrier, by the way. Pretty good one. It's got the
What?
nice vending.
Who makes that one? Do you know?
Yeah, yeah. Hang on.
Sure.
It's made by Yakada.
Okay. It looks
But
like it fits you well.
yeah, yeah, it does. Um, Other things we carry, uh, get you a good set of gloves.
Okay.
These, I mean, like combat gloves with hard knuckle and everything like that.
Sure.
Do your hands, do your hands a favor.
Right. All kinds of
Uh,
debris everywhere. Probably glass, nails, screws.
exactly. Um, One of the other things that it goes in that backpack I carry, I carry my power pack, and in here I have my batteries, backup batteries for iPhones, iPads, and different devices. I also have regular AA, AAA, and the little, I call them dot batteries
Okay.
that go in my
That's
devices.
like the little
And
coin
always care,
cells, button cells.
exactly. And now here's a little inside baseball. Okay. Keeping your pants up is an important thing, at least for me. Last thing I want to do is penguin. But I also, oh, penguin, it's just bad form, especially at my age. This is a smuggler's belt.
Okay.
No metal. I've walked and I've tested this. I've walked through multiple security checkpoints with this on, and it has not set off. It has a zipper. It's a money belt. Some people money belt, smuggler's belt.
Right. Right.
It's in tactical khaki, right? And I can carry about 7,000 US, but I carry multiple currencies in here. All right, other
That's smart.
countries that I
Right. Neighboring
that way.
countries. I'm
Hey,
assuming.
hmm yeah, that way if I have to make a runner for some reason, we call it doing a Taco Bell, taking a run toward the border. Remember the old ad?
Right.
Um, So we do a Taco Bell to Romania. I got Romanian leu. I've got Ukrainian hryvnia, and I got greenbacks,
Okay.
and enough that if I have to grease somebody or buy a car, buy a driver to get me somewhere, I can do it, right? Because money talks, and dollars, you hear everything about it. But let me tell you, a couple of $100,
Dollar
and you're
will
50 kilometers.
Yeah, in Eastern Europe, I mean, the dollar is like people don't realize if they're not from Eastern Europe. Like when I visit Poland, for example, it's like
Hmm.
you pull out like a $20 bill and you can pay for like a full course meal and then a 4 course meal, and then you can pay for a bus ticket across town, and then you could probably pay for a night at a hotel. It's like people don't
Yeah, pretty
realize.
much. It all depends. But the thing about it is, and this is another inside baseball tip. If you're over here, plan coming over here, make sure your money is pristine. Because what is happening, like, okay, you can go to a bank and exchange it. You're going to get the bank rate. You can go into the black market and get maybe a point or two higher, okay? But your money needs to be pristine, no tears, no marks. I don't know why, but if you got tears and scribbles and stains, they discount it, okay? I actually had that in a bank in Uzbekistan. I was exchanging dollars, and the lady started pushing the money back at me. And I'm like, WTF, what's going on here? And she's like pointing like there was a little tear. And I'm like, so I pulled out some Uzbek money and I said, look what you gave me. And I didn't make you discount it. Now you're doing, and so anyway, we worked it all out and I got my proper exchange rate. But they were trying to hustle me. I hate that. The other thing that's real handy about keeping pants up, I love these suspenders. Oh my God, these are so good. All right. They're made by Hilo Tuck.
Okay.
All right.
They look pretty heavy duty.
And- yeah, they are. And I like them because they have Velcro. So you hook it up through your belt and it swivels. Okay. They're pretty comfortable and they'll hold your pants up. Plus, if you have, uh, like my diagnostic bag, I sling it around my hip and I can put it through here and I don't have to worry about it coming loose or anything and sliding off, right? Like if I'm trying to move and all of a sudden it goes down around my knees and all of a sudden I trip and go down on the ground. Or, uh, and the funny story about suspenders, I was running to get on a train and I had to run across track and my pants, and because of the backpack and everything was pushing my pants down. So my pants I'm starting to go penguin. So I'm like trying to hold my backpack because I only got it slung on one shoulder, pull my pants up and jump up on the train at the same time. It was not a pretty sight. Not a pretty sight. Definitely not impressing anybody with that move. So, and then of course, a good pair of combat boots, right? I really love these. These are Pentagon, bought them in Romania. They're my summer boot.
Okay.
Really good boot. Uh, One of the things I do, a lot of guys do, I have one of my dog tags laced into my boot.
That's smart.
Okay. That's grim, but, you know, might be the only way they identify you. And then I have my blood type on the other boot. I mean, these are just some of the things. The other thing too, you notice none of my gear is camo. None of my clothes are camo. All right. It is really frowned upon to almost being forbidden. How's this? Let's do this. We can chat now.
Okay.
Um, Wearing camo if you're not in the military is not a good thing.
Okay.
They really frown on it. So, I'm sorry if you think you're going to come over here and volunteer and you buy some really cool, expensive camo, you wear it you don't even wear it on the street here. Okay. And I make sure that my colors are not even the greens and browns because I don't want to stand out, obviously.
Right.
Uh,
So you were
I'm
telling
not going to wear
me
bright.
off camera that basically you can get arrested if you're wearing camo in Ukraine, and if you don't have not arrested, but they'll stop you and question you, and
Hmm.
because they think that
Then,
they just don't know who you are. You could be a Russian,
right.
who nobody knows. It's a war zone, so it complicates
And it's for
things.
your own safety.
Right.
In the beginning, there was more different camo patterns here than you could shake a stick at. Okay, because there was no bulk uniforms. Now it's standardized. Everyone's got good BDUs. Uh, you know, Frontline guys have camo. Militia and reservists have solid green, right? Um, and I even make sure that my green isn't Ukrainian green,
Okay.
you know, so that there's no mistaking that I'm not part of the army or military. Now, you notice I had Ukrainian flags and everything on there. Yeah, you bet. I want to make sure they know whose side I'm on. Um, so, those are a couple of the little things. And don't come over here thinking, okay, well, I'm going to go over there and volunteer. You better have something lined up before you get here. Okay. Being just loosey goosey around here, and especially if you don't bring any credentialing, criminal histories, birth certificates, anything. If you're coming here, bring those things.
All
You
right.
need to get background checks on yourself, certified, notarized. You need a notarized birth certificate, two or three. Um, Insurance, will, big pluses. All your licenses need to be current, right? Because they're getting really fussy because in the beginning, a lot of pretenders came over here. A lot of guys saying, well, I was special forces or I was SEAL team and blah,
Right.
blah, blah. And they were idiots, absolute idiots. And they did stupid stuff. Even the NGOs, they would take selfies of them handing off stuff in blown out villages and locations. Well, they didn't turn off their geolocation. And guess who's monitoring that one? Okay? Russians are picking up on it. In fact, at the beginning, if you remember, a whole bunch of Ukrainian Legion volunteers, mostly British, about 134 of them were killed in a rocket attack. And they were way back. They were like in the western part. They were around Kiev somewhere, I think. And what they did was they saw that all the cell traffic was going back to England, concentrated cell traffic. And so they just targeted that building and blew it to smithereens. So, you know, this is a new kind of warfare, Greg. Um, this will be known as the drone war. We're seeing uh, where cell phone hacking, monitoring, disruption uh, is possible and done by all sides. I mean, I don't need a microwave. I can just get a long pole, stick my chicken on the end of it, stick it up in the air. There's enough microwave going around, probably cook in 10 seconds. I'm
Right.
just kidding. Um, you know, even the birds wear foil. Um, so this
Do you
is a
mind
new
if we
kind of
ask a
war.
couple of questions? We had like three quick questions about the medical stuff.
Oh, no, no. Yeah, yeah, let's go for it.
So we had a question about sutures, and wound staplers, and then we had a question
Hmm.
about electrolytes, and then finally something about any first aid for teeth or mouth problems.
Yes. Okay. Good questions. Solid questions. Yes, we have sutures. Yes, we have staples. That's more to when they get to the aid station,
Okay,
but
that's
we
what I
do
figured.
have it. And the reason is, and there is a train of thought that guy coming off the battlefield, you don't want to close his wound necessarily
Right, it could be
because
something in there.
of
You need to remove it, or
debridement. Well, plus infection. Okay. And so you'll find that some of the new practices is closing a wound, but leaving like they'll put drains in it and things like that, uh, so that any pus and everything like that can drain off, and the wound keep the wound from going septic. But yeah, we have staplers and suturing. Now, Jeremy's really good at the suturing. I suck. So Jeremy does all the officers and I do the enlisted men.
okay.
It's a joke. Joke. You know, the officers get the real nice stitching. The enlisted guys get the really rough stitching. Now, teeth. And I'll do teeth real quick and then we'll talk electrolyte. Um, Here it is. I have a little dental kit here.
Okay.
It's not much. I've got um, recapped it. This is like if you lose a filling or something like that, you can spread that in to close it off temporarily.
Oh wow, that's pretty
Um,
cool. That's awesome.
Paraffin Max. This is for once again for kind of like repairing the same thing, broken teeth and everything. Um, these are really cool. Dentec Instant Pain Relief Sticks. You can get in there, and guys, you can hand a guy a few of these, right? If he has a cavity or a toothache or broke a tooth or something, that'll help cut the pain, right? I
It's
have
kind of like the stuff
examination.
when you go to the dentist and they give you a shot. They kind of pre-numb it first, like they put this stuff there
The
and it kind of numbs.
Lanacane. The,
Yeah.
well, yeah, yeah. This is the over-counter version of that.
Okay.
Okay, and then I have a little exam kit. It has a mirror and a couple of picks in it, so I can poke around because guys will get severe facial injuries. Okay. And so that's one of the things when you come to a patient, you always open his mouth and clear his mouth. That way, if he's got any broken teeth or anything in there, he's not going to swallow back and choke on it.
Okay.
Okay. Dental floss. Now, dental floss is handy stuff. Okay. You can use it to tie off an artery, an umbilical cord. You could
Interesting.
probably suture with, this is unwaxed. And I
Okay.
get the unwaxed because you could actually suture with this. It's going to be ugly, but you could actually suture someone up with this. All right. And so, plus also someone might want a little extra hygiene. So yeah, that's my dental kit. So yeah, I got your bases covered. You might want to you can throw there's some really good stuff for like blisters and things like that. I'm trying to think what the name of it is. Uh, it's really good stuff for blisters, like cold sores and everything like that. And guys will get that. You'll see guys get basically hoof and mouth. You know, they'll get fungal infections in their mouth from poor hygiene and diet, stress. Um, when I go up and we do a supply run or anything like that, I take them an antifungal cream for athlete's foot and jock itch, crotch rot, whatever you want to call it. And I'll take 6 or 7 tubes of that and hand it to guys who need it. Um, one of the other things, and I didn't show you, I carry a really good manicure kit, nail kit. Okay, let
Hmm.
me get that for you. And every prepper should have one. I kid you not. No, I'm serious, man. They're inexpensive and they're really necessary. Because what are you going to do if you get an ingrown nail or something, right?
Right. Yeah. It's funny you say that. I always tell people it's actually a video I did that you should have a nail clipper and then because if you have an ingrown nail or something, then you can't cut that without a
Oh, nay,
clipper.
nay. Nay, nay. Do it big or go home, Greg. Okay. I got clippers, different sizes, little nail trimmers, files, cuticle cleaners, and I got some stuff here that I can also use for other things, uh, debridement, probing, and things like
Right.
this.
Right. Right.
Plus I also carry an emery board as well, little half emery board, right? This is this, and you everyone should have one of these, and you should have one. In fact, I think the U.S. military issues them to everyone. You should have one of these when you're at all in the field and in your bug out bag. All right. Now, in my boo boo kit, I also carry moleskin for foot blisters. Okay. And we all know what moleskin is, right?
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that. Somebody was asking about that. Yep.
Yeah. And carry moleskin. I got moleskin patches. Also, duct tape will work.
Oh
If
yeah,
someone's
yeah.
getting a
Duct
hot
tape would work
spot,
too.
because all you really want to do is make it slide and protect that skin. It's already irritated, it's breaking down, so you want to cover it. And as long as it's not to the blister point yet, you can, if it's just a hot spot, you can use duct tape. If you got a blister, don't use the duct tape. Okay. And we also see trench foot, frostbite, um, fungal infections. Guys get worn down, lack of sleep, poor diet. So I carry several bottles of heavy duty vitamins, and I'll give guys a handful of vitamins, or I actually just leave the bottles with the group, right? Mouthwash, um, paracetamol, which is like Tylenol, uh, allergy medicine, non-drowsy, of course. Um, so I'll leave them a little. band-aids and antibiotic stuff. Um, so I'll leave that with them. Um, Actual medicines, we do have, um, and probably the most effective painkiller is ketamine, and it's
Okay,
also
ketamine.
hard to
Wow.
overdose. It's also hard to overdose someone on ketamine. Okay. Morphine, if you're going to have morphine, you need Narcan.
Okay.
Okay. And Narcan is the um, anti-opiate overdose medication. It's a opiate,
Naloxone, right?
yeah. And there's injectable and there's nasal. Yeah, in fact, it's pretty easy to get the nasal from your pharmacist. Some states you can just walk up and ask for it. And it's good to have some of that. It's good to have some of that. Because guys overdose, get overdosed. Also, being in the city like this, people overdose. People are out partying and stuff like that. They get their hands on hydrocodone, OxyContin, whatever, whatever. And next thing you know, they're like flat out on the ground, barely breathing. And you can pop somebody right. That stuff's amazing when you see it work. And you can save a life like that. Uh, or suicide overdoses. But just remember, it only works on opiates.
Okay.
Okay, with me?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not going to work on benzos, or benzodiazepines.
Okay.
I don't think it'll work on fentanyl, and stuff like that. Um, Another thing that's handy to have, I wish I had one, I don't, is a PIR. And what it is, it's like a little drill.
Okay.
Let's say you can't get a vein on somebody. You
Right.
can use it. You guys have, and you actually drill. You smack this into the guy in the shoulder, or and you can actually drill into the bone and start an IV line through the marrow
Oh wow, that's crazy.
in
Wow.
case the veins are all blown out from blood loss and dehydration.
Wow.
Another thing that's cool, and we tried it. We got a night vision and a heat thermal sight, like a monocular,
Right.
thermal imaging, and used it to locate veins in the arm. You can put it down and see the veins in your arm. And so if you're going to like IV someone or draw blood or inject, you can take your thermal sight and run it up and down their arm and find a good vein without having to poke and prod around. That's pretty ninja, I think, Also, you can use it to scan the body. Like, let's say someone's got an abdominal bleed going on, like they're losing blood pressure and they're going downhill, but you don't see any obvious signs of trauma, which can happen in blast injuries. It can mess up your internal organs big time. And
Right.
so you can use thermal imaging and look around through the abdominal area. And if he's got an abdominal bleed, it's going to be hotter, warmer than the
Wh-
surrounding area.
I see. So you can find exactly where the wound is.
Well, you can look at it and say, oh, okay, this guy might have something going on down here. He's gone from priority to critical. Okay. Another thing too, if a guy's been peppered with shrapnel and whatnot, You get all his clothes, like get all the metal off of him, and you can use one of those Garrett, like you see security guards use, a Garrett metal detection wand.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? And you can
Yes.
scan it over their body,
Yeah, metal detecting
and
wand. Yep.
you can pick up like, oh, okay, man, that that piece of metal isn't right up under his arm. It's traveled over to, Jesus, it looks like maybe in his left lung. Oh shit.
Wow. Okay, that's
So you can
smart.
do some stuff like that.
That's really smart.
Um, you know, uh, Once again, um, you can, it's doing, it's knowing what to do. You have that, they talk about the golden hour. All right. And that's critical. That's an important thing. But the platinum 10 minutes, that first 10 minutes after that critical injury, is going to determine the course and outcome of the patient. Okay.
Hmm.
That first 10 minutes. Now, if I may, if you're going to practice, find you a nice victim, put him on the ground, you know, take your marker, like, okay, he's lost his leg, he's got a hole, he's got this. Now, don't just say, okay, you come up, Greg, come on up here and apply a tourniquet and do what you're going to do. No, I'm going to have you back up about 75 yards and you're going to sprint in full kick, land on this guy. And while I'm yelling and tossing dirt around and everything else, you're going to fix him. Okay? Because if you run 75 yards, you're huffing and puffing, your adrenaline's up, your heart rate's up. Okay? It's not you're not cool and calm just stepping out from the group.
Right. Right.
So do some practicing like that. Put some stress on it. All right. Put some stress on yourself. Do it in total darkness. All right. Where you have to reach in your bag and feel for everything and know where it is. If there's more than one of you and you're carrying medical equipment, you need to know who's got what, or if you're carrying the same thing, it needs to be packed identically across the board. That's true for your equipment and your body armor and everything else. That way, if someone goes down and you're out of mags, you know exactly where to reach to get them.
Okay.
Or you understand what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Uniformity,
Absolutely.
uniformity can be a lifesaver. If everyone packs willy-nilly and you got to tear through someone's pack to find a critical piece of equipment, while you're doing that, he's bleeding to death. Okay. Or you're about to get overrun. He's down. You're out of mags. You're reaching around. Where the hell are his mags? You know.
Right. Yep.
Mhm. Okay. The other thing too on a patient, you disarm them. One of the things and it sounds like that would be common, but you're taking the radio off of him, you're taking his cell phone, you're taking his knife, you're taking his weapon, and a lot of guys don't want to give up that weapon if they're
Right.
conscious. So you got to be gentle how you handle that one. You take his mags off because the last thing you want is someone in shock getting on his radio. Okay. And, oh my God, and just, freaking out over a radio. Oh,
Right.
and because, everyone can hear it. Everyone.
Yeah.
And so you
Plus,
don't want him doing that.
you could have an accident too. I mean, gun could go off or something. These guys are in war. They
Or,
don't.
or,
they don't remember to put their
or
safety on, or they keep around in the
oh yeah,
chamber. It's not
or
a
he looks
controlled
up and sees
environment.
you,
So
or he looks up and sees you, and because the Russian and Ukrainian camo patterns are very similar, okay? Everyone looks kind of alike. That's where they wear armbands. I don't know if you've seen all the film. The guys have armbands,
yeah, oh yeah,
okay? That's so they don't shoot each other, okay? Friendly fire.
right, yep,
Um, so if a guy who's been wounded, he's in shock, looks up and sees some big guy coming over to him and doesn't pick up the colors on the armbands and everything, he can blow him away because he still thinks he's in the fight.
right,
You disarm people. That's a big thing. Another
right,
thing, when you teach Triple C, combat casualty care, like your buddy goes down, he's out in the open. Your first responsibility is that of a soldier. You're still in the fight. So that comes first. You still got to defend your position and take the fight. Then if you're going to go get him, you got to put down that suppression fire. Ideally, you would, the fight's over. You set up a security perimeter around the patient. Medic comes in and does his thing. Everyone then gets him out, get him off the X, as we say.
right,
And so when you're in a dangerous situation, and that can be a building fire, that can be in the middle of a hurricane or tornado or flood, you got to take care of business first. Take care of yourself first, then you can take care of the patient. Okay? Then you can take care of the patient. Because if you go down, you ain't helping anybody.
right,
Plus, also, you're not the mission. You're not the mission. The patient's the mission. You don't want to become another mission. All right. Those are just the other thing too. If you got plate armor and you're in an active combat and shelling situation on your patient, try to keep that plate armor on him so he has added protection. Now he might have a chest wound and you got to work around it. Okay. Reach in there, get that chest seal on there, and then if you do the chest decompression, you don't have to necessarily go straight down in through the chest. You can come in up under the rib. Okay, which most plate armor sets don't have a side, so you can access that.
right.
All right, and you can go in from the side and do your chest decompression. Uh, any other questions? Anything going on here?
Um, I don't know. Does anybody have any questions? Any stories? Any medical stories? I think you were kind of talking about that during the mall attack, where you
Mm,
had to use the bandage on the guy with the hand injury.
mm-hmm. Um, Probably the most traumatic event was the loss of our colleague and friend Marina. It happened after M-Store. It was in late July. And Marina was 23, beautiful, tiny little thing. Olympic level equestrian dressage, and was training before the war for the Ukrainian Olympic team. She was with us. She handled the humanitarian aid and to civilians for us. Beautiful girl, sweet. I looked at her like a daughter or a niece. Uh, And one day we heard Jeremy's wife scream. We ran in and she's on the floor, full arrest, no heartbeat, no breathing. We don't even know how long she's been there. And Jeremy and I did CPR, everything we could do. We did CPR for a good 45 minutes before the emergency services people pulled in. And then Jeremy and I were spent doing CPR. As little as she was, it's still hard. And it was hard because we know her. I mean, this of all the people we wanted to bring back, and we never dreamed our first body bag would have her in it.
So
That was
sad,
hard.
man. Sorry to hear that.
Give me a sec. I'm sorry. Anyway, you expect soldiers. That kind of comes with the territory, right? It's kind of in the job description. You can get blown up, killed, maimed. Nasty things can happen to you. You expect that. Okay, fine. But to find someone like her, civilian, not in the fight per se, you know, and to find her flat out on the ground like that, you know, God, that was hard. Oh my God, that was hard. And we worked on her till the ME showed up and called it. So it was a good almost 2 hours. We worked on it, trying to bring her back, but she had had a brain hemorrhage, uh, brain aneurysm. So in a way, I don't know what she would have been like if we brought her back because we don't know how long she was not breathing without oxygen and with a brain injury. I don't know if we would have brought Marina. If we would have brought her back to life, I don't know if we would have had Marina or not, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She could have had a significant brain damage.
Wow.
But, eh, but that's not our call. I mean, our call is to try to save her. And you do what you can. And as a volunteer, I'm still a tourist in this country. I'm a guest,
Right.
okay? And under the circumstances, you want to give and not take, okay? You don't take anything from anybody. You give. That's why you're here. And a lot of volunteers have been killed in this war and wounded. Uh, there's some, you know, when this war is over, I hope they put a memorial somewhere. I might even start it to put a memorial to the volunteers, you know, and they played an important role, especially in the beginning. We were teaching, we were helping, we were doing direct help, we were accessing items out of the West. Like part of my thing is when I would rotate to Bucharest in Romania,
Right.
I would be getting getting packages through customs in Bucharest sent from the US and Europe of supplies we needed, and then I would hand carry that stuff here to Kremenchuk, all right? Because like trying to maybe ship it or do anything, there was none of the big carriers were going into Ukraine, okay? And there was a lot of So you had to get your stuff to the border, get it over the border, and get it into a freight forwarding, depending on how much you had. And a lot of stuff went missing. A lot of stuff fell off the back of the truck. And I mean, you know, that's why we were dealing with some guy in the black market buying 100 tourniquets. And we're like, and he was honest about it. He said, well, I kind of found these tourniquets, cough, cough, and I'm just selling them because I need to put food on the table. He'd lost his job, everything was closed down and chaotic, and, you know, life goes on. You still have to feed your family. So I don't forgive him for what he did, but I understand it. And I don't know if I had a wife and 3 kids and no income and needed to feed them. I don't know if I wouldn't do that too. I don't know, you know. So, but that's kind of, it's much better now. All that's over. The logistics run smooth. There's plenty of stuff. Uh, they've tightened down on the quality and caliber of volunteer that's working here. Uh, so, and we can do a show about that maybe where and I'll get Jeremy in here and we'll talk about volunteerism and we'll strip the bark off of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as glamorous and glorious as you think. Uh, and then we'll talk about some guys who are really doing some big work. There's a volunteer EOD team that's doing
Okay.
mine clearance, and they're taking like 200 or 300 mines a day
That's insane.
out of
Wow.
the farmers. It is, it is, and you know, uh, or Chef Z, who has his magic food army, and they're feeding 1,500 or more troops a day, 3 meals a day. Really nourishing, well balanced, tasty meals. And that's important. It keeps morale up, and having the proper caloric intake makes soldiers combat effective. And that's what you want. You want to keep your guys combat effective on the front. And so, any more questions? What else we got?
Um, not much. I think that's pretty much it. I think it would be nice to have you back on to talk about more in detail about volunteering and what it's like in Ukraine, and maybe get some stories from you and things like that. That would be a cool thing to
Hmm.
do.
There's also one other thing I carry, and we'll close with this. How's that?
Sure.
There's one other thing I carry in my medical bag. My rosary.
Oh, your rosary.
It's very religious people here.
Yes, in Eastern
And
Europe, people are very religious. Are you Catholic?
I've actually gone to Eastern Orthodox.
Okay.
I was Catholic, and then I was dating an Eastern Orthodox woman a long time, Greek Orthodox, to be honest. And so we were going to get married, and so I had to go become Greek Orthodox. Much fun. I'm basically heathen. I don't know. I mean, uh, on my dog tag, I have a little Orthodox cross on my dog tag that was given to me by a babushka in a village, and she said she would put me in the book of life and pray for me. Cool.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, and if you guys pray for me, ask your heathen friends to pray to their heathen gods too, because I need all the coverage, just in case.
Yeah, there's people in the chat that are saying they're going to pray
Oh,
for you and stuff.
okay. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And again, ask your heathen friends to pray to their heathen gods, because out in the war zone, you want all the coverage. Buddha, uh,
Right.
Vishnu, everybody, let's cover it. All right. Just in case, you never know. I mean,
Yeah, you never know.
just want to be on the safe side. I don't want to piss off the wrong god. Uh, no, it's it's different. We were under Travoga most of the night. I think it went off about 2:30. Yeah, about 2:30. It went off here, and uh, and then it ended right before, maybe 30 minutes before you and I went live.
Wow.
So I was still under Travoga. Yeah.
Yeah, there were a bunch of air raids today or yesterday now.
Last night, yeah. Oh, so, and the mood here is very tense, very tense. It's kind of, I think I've talked to you and mentioned it's like a coiled spring
Yep.
waiting to be let loose. And Russia's making a whole bunch of noise, counter, and obliterate us with rockets and artillery and whatever else, throw vodas at us. I don't know what they're going to do. And so, anyway, I've enjoyed it. I hope this was helpful. Uh, if any of y'all have any suggestions for me, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm certainly no expert.
Okay.
And so put them in the comments section. Make sure you hit the like button and help Greg out.
Thank you.
Subscribe. All right.
And
And
you're
help
gonna
a
still
brother
be
out, right?
you're still gonna be doing those videos for us, right? Those
Yeah, I
uh,
sent you one yesterday of the all girl band.
yeah, I saw that. Yep.
Yeah, the supermodel band.
Yeah, that was cool.
And that was that was just so funny looking at them. It seems so 70s to me.
Right.
Their uniforms and stuff
Yep,
was
yep.
really kind of 70s. And they're at the McDonald's. And the one thing I didn't film, and I should have, when they do shift change, it's like an army comes, they come out, I guess they're getting training, okay? And so they all come out in a big, huge group. And it's like they go to the McDonald's, all the employees, and the ones coming off shift come out, and the ones going on shift, and it's like a giant, it's like a military maneuver. And there's a bunch of them. I mean, there must be a easily 50, 60 employees working in that McDonald's. Easy.
Wow, that's huge. That's crazy.
Well, they still got people coming out, lines out into the uh, sitting area, outside sitting area. I mean, lines out the store still. I mean, you know, and we think, oh man, it's just McDonald's, right? But that's kind of it shut down at the beginning of the war and just opened up I think last week. Yeah. And so, or week before last. And the first day was insane. I should have shot video of it, but I was just flabbergasted. And I think I told you the story about me going into order. That was pretty funny.
I think I remember.
And
Yeah.
I walked in, quarter pounder with cheese, supersized fries, nuggets, two sauce, right? And she looked at me like I had landed from Mars. She, right? It's like, oh my God, he's American. He's speaking English. I don't understand a word he says. And they're supposed to speak English in there or be able to. That's which I find kind of funny. And so they had to huddle with a few employees, and a manager came up. What do you want? Quarter pounder of cheese, supersized fries, nuggets, two sauce, drink, Fanta, duh, done. And it was good. It was tasty. I normally don't eat at McDonald's, uh, but you had to give it a go, right? You got to try McDonald's. I tried KFC here. They have KFC. That's a big deal too, and it was pretty tasty.
That's good, man. Yeah, I love KFC out of all those. That's awesome, man.
Well, it's funny. Yeah, I guess. When I got to Bucharest the first time, and I'm walking down, and there's all this beautiful architecture and old buildings, then I see golden arches, right? And I was so disappointed, right? It's like, man, we created jeans, rock and roll, sent people to the moon, healthcare, all this stuff. What's our big export? McDonald's.
It's
What's our
funny.
big cultural exchange? You know, McDonald's. Either that or it's a CIA plot. We're gonna like wipe out all these third world nations through cholesterol and diabetes and heart
All right,
disease.
right.
Yeah, taking Europe one burger at a time. Okay, but anyway, God, I've been up. I haven't even slept tonight. I've been up all night. I haven't slept yet, so I'm
Yeah,
probably a
thank you
little
so much
tipsy
for
tonight.
staying up and doing this. It's really late over there. I mean, it's thank you so much. It's really
7:40 in the morning.
man. Thanks
We
so much
start.
for doing
We
this.
start. Oh no, I enjoy it. It's good, and I hope the crew enjoys it.
And
And any feedback and comments?
if there's anything we can do to help you, just let me know. I mean, we're in contact, so if there's anything you need or
Yeah.
whatever, any way we
But
can help you, whatever you guys
one of
need,
the
anything.
things I appreciate that, Greg. Thank you. Um, the what I would appreciate any feedback that I can do to make my presentations better, or if there's any specific things you guys want to cover,
Okay.
you know, um, like as fall comes on and winter comes on, what we can do some videos about getting ready for winter.
That would be great. I was going to ask you some questions on what you carry for winter stuff, but I think that would be too much for one stream. So we could, yeah, it would be great if we did that. I actually did a
Yeah,
winter. I did a winter survival video for some Ukrainians in Lviv. They asked me to be
yeah,
like the winter survival expert or whatever. So that would be fun. We could both discuss because winter, here in the Northeast, or the Midwest, whatever. It's something that
it's
I've
pretty
lived.
pretty rough. Yeah,
It's something I've lived with my whole life, and as a outdoors person, it's like you have to you have to learn, or you're not, or you're gonna have problems. I mean, it's like it's a matter of life, you know. It's so, and it's
Hmm.
and in Ukraine, it's the same way. It's like Ukraine has all four seasons, so you gotta adapt, or
Yeah.
you know.
Plus, also, there's a difference in how they heat their living spaces. They don't have the it's rare to find the real top quality double pane windows for insulation, and
Right.
you know, uh, there's more power outages and gas disruptions, and uh, so, and especially with the Russians bombing. I mean, when I first got here, you know, we would have long stretches of time without power. We had gas, so we had heat, but we didn't have electric. And that just adds. And then, of course, the soldiers up on the front line trying to keep them from getting frostbite and uh, hypothermia and cold related injuries. So yeah,
That would be
um,
awesome, man. Thank you for all your time. It's amazing.
yeah, and we can talk a little more about search and rescue next
Okay,
video.
that would be cool.
Um, and how how it ties in to prepping and survival skills. Uh, I'm actually a licensed or registered uh, NASAR, National Association of Search and Rescue, which is a certifying agency, and
Okay,
I'm actually a NASAR level 2. There's 3 levels, and I'm a level 2, and I've done all the FEMA coursework for command and control and helicopter and all the FEMA requirements, which you have to have now to get into a federal disaster area.
okay.
And
Wow,
so you have
that
to,
would
yeah.
that would be
But the
awesome. Would love to pick your brain on that. That would be great.
Yeah, because like NASAR, there's a lot of wilderness skills that are taught, and like a 24-hour pack, a 72-hour pack to be totally self-sufficient and work in the field. And there's some pretty interesting stuff, and it covers orienteering, map reading, uh, grid layout, topography,
Sure.
uh,
Land navigation, basically.
natural, yeah, all basically, yeah, with map and compass.
That's critical. That's
Okay,
a critical skill for preppers and just in general any person. It's just so important to just know.
wilderness.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what if your GPS gets knocked out on your cell phone? Ugh,
Right.
now what? Oh, how does this thing work? uh, no. Yeah. Plus, it's fun. You can do the orientation uh, competitions and orientation courses, actual courses, and run them for time and stuff like that. That's a lot of fun. So, all right. Well, man, we covered a lot of territory.
We did. Yeah. Thank you so
Covered a
much. Yeah.
lot of territory.
We had one last question here, if you don't mind. Do you have like a minute or so?
Okay.
We have
Oh,
somebody
sure.
ask about nuclear, well, radiation, any kind of stuff for radiation, like potassium iodide or anything at all, or that's not really. I mean, I
Uh,
guess that's more for like doctors, I would think.
no, no. Well, let me. Here's the deal. When I last summer, Romania was issuing potassium iodide tablets to the population.
Okay,
Okay. So yeah, there's efficacy in taking potassium iodate. Uh, in the event of a nuclear incident of whatever, you're going to have burns,
Right.
you're going to have trauma, building collapses, so crushing injuries. The radiation poisoning, that you're right, that is medical stuff.
Takes a while for it to really set
And
in, you know.
no, not really. It can be damn quick, depending on your level of exposure. I mean, I say damn quick, like 24 hours or less.
Right,
You can
right,
start having symptoms.
right.
I mean, you look at the poor guys that were on scene at Chernobyl, the first responders, oh my God, that was brutal. Um, in
Yep.
my nuclear preparedness kit, I only carry two items, only two. I carry a Siloam stick and a tube of chapstick.
Okay.
And the chapstick is so like I can put it on my lips so they're nice and smooth. So when I kiss my ass goodbye, I don't want to have crackly lips. And the
Right.
Siloam stick is in case it's dark and I drop my tube of chapstick. I mean, it's funny. Everyone says, "Are you scared of nuclear incident?" And I'm like, I'm so close that I might not even know it happens. Or I might like, oh, is that a mushroom cloud? Jeez.
Right.
Um, so I can call you guys and give you a 30 minutes heads up,
Well,
right?
you
Because I'll
probably
be
won't
at
even.
ground zero.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
Hey, guess what? Yeah, duck. Yeah, John had blue eyes. One blue right, one blue left. Anyway, so
Well, thanks for
all right.
coming
On
on.
that
Thanks.
note,
Thanks for all your time, staying up, sharing this information. It's really good stuff. A lot of good information here. Thank you.
you're most welcome, and thanks to the crew. And remember, everybody, stay classy. I'm out.
See
Talk
you
to you guys
guys.
later. Oh.